Men over 40, stop doing cardio for fat loss. It's making you lose muscle instead. I want you to stop what you are doing and really hear this. The thing you have been told is the most important tool for losing fat after 40. The thing fitness culture has repeated so consistently and so confidently that most men never question it is not only failing to give you the results you want, it is actively working against your body in ways that are making you fatter, weaker, and hormonally depleted simultaneously. I'm talking about cardio. Steady state, chronic, traditional cardiovascular exercise. The treadmill sessions, the morning runs, the cycling classes, the elliptical hours you have logged while watching the scale barely move and wondering what you're doing wrong. You are not doing anything wrong in terms of effort. You are doing something wrong in terms of understanding. And by the end of this video, that understanding is going to change completely. Because once you see the biological mechanism behind why cardio destroys body composition in men over 40, you will never waste another hour on a treadmill thinking it is burning your fat. It is not. And I'm going to prove it to you with the science your body has been demonstrating for years. Before we go any further, I want to know where you are watching this from right now. Drop your city or your country in the comments below. Men over 40 are finding this channel from every part of the world, and every comment you leave helps me understand this community better and build content that actually serves where you are in your journey. Drop it in right now. Now, let me take you inside the biology of what actually happens to a man over 40 when he does chronic cardio for fat loss. Because this is not about opinion. This is about the measurable, documented hormonal response your body produces every single time you step on that treadmill. And once you understand it, the frustration you have felt for years is going to make complete sense. The central problem begins with cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone, produced by your adrenal glands in response to physical and psychological stress. In short, controlled bursts, cortisol is not your enemy. It mobilizes energy, sharpens focus, and helps your body respond to acute demands. But chronic elevation, the kind produced by repeated sustained cardiovascular exercise performed regularly, is one of the most destructive hormonal states a man over 40 can maintain. And here is precisely why. When cortisol is chronically elevated, three things happen in your body that directly and measurably undermine fat loss and body composition. First, cortisol initiates a process called gluconeogenesis, the conversion of protein, specifically muscle protein, into glucose for fuel. Your body is literally breaking down your muscle tissue and burning it as energy during and after your cardio sessions. You are not just failing to build muscle while doing cardio, you are losing the muscle you already have. And muscle, as I will explain in detail shortly, is the single most important metabolic asset your body possesses for long-term fat loss. Every pound of muscle you lose makes fat loss harder, slower, and more difficult to sustain. Second, chronically elevated cortisol directly suppresses testosterone production. Cortisol and testosterone exist in a biological opposition. When one rises, the other falls. For a man over 40 who is already experiencing the natural testosterone decline that begins in his mid-30s, chronic cardio is pouring gasoline on a fire that is already burning in the wrong direction. Lower testosterone means less muscle protein synthesis, more fat storage, reduced motivation, disrupted sleep, and a slower metabolic rate. Every cardio session that spikes your cortisol is suppressing the hormone most responsible for keeping you lean, strong, and physically capable as you age. Third, and this is the mechanism most men never hear about, chronically elevated cortisol increases the activity of an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase, specifically in your abdominal region. Lipoprotein lipase is a fat storage enzyme. Cortisol elevation makes your body preferentially store fat around your abdomen, the exact area most men over 40 are trying the hardest to reduce. You are doing cardio to lose belly fat, and the cortisol that cardio produces is instructing your body to store more fat in the precise location you are targeting. This is not a minor side effect. This is a direct physiological consequence of the training method you have been told is your primary fat loss tool. I want to stop here and ask you something that I want you to answer honestly in the comments. How long have you been doing cardio consistently, and has your body composition meaningfully changed as a result? Drop your honest answer below, because what I have found working with men in this space for years is that the vast majority of men over 40 doing regular cardio are experiencing exactly what the biology predicts. Marginal or stalling fat loss, muscle loss, they are misinterpreting as overall weight loss, and a persistent frustration that their effort is not producing results proportional to the time they are investing. Your body has been telling you the truth for years. The cardio narrative has been overriding it. Now let me address the calorie argument, because this is the point where most people push back. The argument goes like this. Cardio burns calories, and fat loss is a function of calories burned versus calories consumed. Therefore, cardio must support fat loss. This argument is not wrong in its basic arithmetic, but it is catastrophically incomplete in its understanding of how a male body over 40 actually manages its energy systems, and the incompleteness is what is costing you results. Yes, a 45-minute treadmill session burns calories during those 45 minutes. Depending on your body weight and intensity, somewhere between 300 and 500 calories. But here is what happens after that session ends. Your metabolism does not stay elevated. Your body, recognizing that it has been subjected to a significant energy demand, initiates compensatory mechanisms. It increases hunger signals, reduces spontaneous movement throughout the remainder of the day, and downregulates metabolic rate to protect against what it perceives as an energy deficit threat. Research on chronic cardio practitioners consistently shows that total daily energy expenditure does not increase proportionally to the calorie burn of the cardio sessions themselves, because the body compensates by reducing energy expenditure in other areas. You burn 300 calories on the treadmill, and your body saves 200 of them back through reduced fidgeting, reduced spontaneous activity, and subtle metabolic downregulation. The net calorie deficit is far smaller than you think, and the hormonal cost, the cortisol spike, the testosterone suppression, the muscle breakdown, is real and measurable regardless of whether the calorie math works out. Now contrast this with what resistance training does to your body's energy systems over the same time period, and the difference becomes impossible to ignore. 45-minute resistance training session burns a comparable number of calories during the session itself. But what happens after the session is completely different. Resistance training creates micro damage in your muscle fibers that your body must repair and rebuild. This repair process, muscle protein synthesis, is energetically expensive. It consumes calories for 24 to 48 hours after your training session ends. This is the phenomenon known as excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC, and it is significantly greater following resistance training than following steady-state cardio. You stop training and your body keeps burning elevated calories for the next day and a half. But the deeper advantage of resistance training for fat loss is not even the EPOC effect. It is the muscle tissue itself. Every pound of muscle you carry on your body burns approximately 6 to 10 calories per day at complete rest. This number sounds small until you understand its compounding effect. If you add 5 pounds of muscle to your frame through consistent resistance training, which is entirely achievable for a man over 40 within 6 months of intelligent programming, your resting metabolic rate increases by 30 to 50 calories per day permanently. That is 350 calories per week, 1,500 calories per month, 18,000 calories per year. Burned doing absolutely nothing. No treadmill, no running shoes, no Saturday morning runs in the rain. Just the metabolic engine of muscle tissue doing its job around the clock. This is why the men who maintain lean physiques into their 50s, 60s, and beyond are almost universally men who prioritize resistance training, not cardio. Resistance training builds the metabolic infrastructure that makes fat loss sustainable long-term. Cardio produces a temporary calorie deficit that your body compensates for, breaks down the muscle that powers your metabolism, and suppresses the hormones that make body composition change possible. So what should you do instead? Let me give you the exact framework. Replace your cardio sessions with 4 resistance training sessions per week built around compound movements. Trap bar deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, incline pressing, weighted rows, overhead pressing, and split squats. These movements recruit the largest muscle groups in your body simultaneously, maximize the metabolic cost of each session, and create the hormonal environment, elevated testosterone, suppressed cortisol, that is the direct opposite of what chronic cardio produces. Heavy compound movements done with controlled tempo and full recovery between sets are the most powerful fat loss tool available to a man over 40. Not because of the calories they burn during the session, because of the metabolic and hormonal environment they create for the 23 hours after the session ends. Structure your nutrition around aggressive protein intake, a minimum of 1 gram per pound of your target body weight, distributed across 3 to 4 meals, each containing at least 40 grams of complete protein. High protein intake has a thermogenic effect that burns additional calories through digestion. It preserves and builds muscle tissue that keeps your metabolic rate elevated. Add what I call metabolic conditioning in place of traditional cardio. This means short, intense, structured work performed 2 to 3 times per week that creates a significant metabolic demand without the chronic cortisol elevation of sustained cardio. Kettlebell complexes, loaded carries, battle rope intervals, sled pushes, circuit training with compound movements using moderate loads and minimal rest. These methods spike your heart rate, create a substantial calorie burn, and produce EPOC comparable to resistance training, without the prolonged cortisol elevation that makes steady-state cardio so destructive for men over 40. Keep these sessions between 15 and 25 minutes. The intensity should be high, the duration should be short. That combination maximizes the metabolic benefit while protecting your hormonal environment. Prioritize sleep with the same non-negotiable commitment you currently give to your training sessions. Human growth hormone, the most powerful fat-burning hormone your body produces, is released primarily during deep sleep. Testosterone is restored during sleep. Cortisol is regulated during sleep. Men who are sleeping 6 hours or less are operating in a permanently elevated cortisol state before they ever step foot in a gym. 7.5 to 8 hours of protected sleep is not a lifestyle preference. It is the hormonal foundation that every other fat loss strategy depends on. Without it, your nutrition and your training are fighting upstream against a hormonal current that will eventually overwhelm them. Finally, maximize your non-exercise activity throughout the day. Walk more. Take stairs. Move during phone calls. Stand at your desk. This is not cardio. It does not create the sustained cortisol elevation of structured cardiovascular exercise. It is low-intensity movement that burns real calories, improves insulin sensitivity, supports cardiovascular health, and keeps your metabolism active throughout the day without touching your hormonal balance. Men who move consistently throughout their day burn significantly more total calories than men who train intensely for 1 hour and then remain sedentary for the remaining 15. Neat. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is one of the most underutilized fat loss tools available to you, and it costs nothing but awareness. Here is the complete picture. Stop the chronic cardio. Build your training around heavy compound resistance work 4 days per week. Add short, intense metabolic conditioning 2 to 3 times per week. Eat aggressive protein at every meal. Protect your sleep. Move consistently throughout your day. This is not a complicated system. It is a precise one. And precision applied consistently to the right biological levers produces the body composition results that hours of cardio never could. If building this kind of precise, evidence-based understanding of how your body works after 40 is what you are after, if you want every training and nutrition decision you make to be grounded in the actual biology of a man your age, then subscribing to this channel is exactly where you need to be. Every video is built for one purpose: giving men over 40 the exact tools to build muscle, burn fat, and refuse the physical decline the world tells them to accept. Not inspiration, the blueprint. Now tell me in the comments, how many days per week have you been doing cardio, and what results have you actually seen from it? Be honest. Your answer tells me what to build next, and it helps every other man over 40 watching this video understand that what he has been experiencing is not a personal failure. It is a predictable biological response to the wrong tool for the job. Stop doing cardio for fat loss. Start building the body that burns fat on its own. The method works. Now you have it.